Hey, how do you Juno?
How do I Juno? Hey, would you like to know?
That's the entrance to the How Do You Juno competition, which is a Roland competition. Roland US are running it by Robbie Ryan. The idea is basically you take any Juno, whether it be, in his case, it's a Juno 106. You make a little video or a song or a ditty, where he's done both. You put it on YouTube and you enter a competition. And at the end of it, if it's chosen, you can win one of the big posh Juno Stage 88 jobbies. And first of all, I thought we could talk about Junos, because there's quite a few of them. Dave Spears, I know you've got to go in a minute, so maybe you'd... can you remember your earliest Juno memories?
Yeah, walking into a shop and going, wow, it's got memories and it costs less than £1,000.
Still too much, though, at that time. That must have been the Juno 60, right?
It was, yeah.
I remember the Juno 6, which didn't have memories, did it? But it did have fully analog architecture, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so if we want to get train spottery about it, they were DCOs, weren't they?
What, in the Juno 6?
I think so, yeah.
Well, I think they were. Juno 60 was the DCOs, and the Juno 6 was the first one. Hey, have I just out-synth fact you?
You could very well have done.
I think there should be some kind of sound effect I should play at this point, but I haven't got my hands on one, and the only one I've got is the Tumbleweed one, and I'm not going to play that one, because obviously that's wrong.
Howard will have to make another one.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I've got a Juno 106, which I used to love. The thing about it, because they always had chorus on them, didn't they? This is the Juno 6, Juno 106, and the Juno 60, and it's got a particular sound, and those pads are just fantastic. Rich, I can tell you're keen to chip in.
I was exposed to the Juno 60 upon its release, and like Dave, one was fascinated with the idea that for a half or less the cost of a profit, you could have a polyphonic synthesizer with patch memories. Of course, the difference was you were giving up an oscillator. You were down to one audio oscillator in the thing, and thus the need for the chorus, because you got to try to make this thing sound bigger than it was. And it wasn't long after the Korg released the Poly 6, which similarly was a single oscillator polysynth that had chorus to give it a bit more breadth and a bit more warmth. And initially, I poo-pooed these single oscillator synths, and then I started playing with them and hearing them and realizing that they were incredibly useful devices. And in my typically jaded old guy fashion, found that each successive Juno was less effective than the preceding one. Until perhaps now, because I understand they now have a product, and I have not played it or heard it, that's based on the Juno 60 or the earlier part of the line, and contains their more magnificently modeled sawtooth waves or whatever. And I'd like to hear that.
Yeah, we talked about there's the Juno G as well, which has it's got like sampling, all sorts of stuff. I mean, I think the idea with the Juno range is it's sort of supposed to be affordable and what have you. But yeah, the Juno, the thing about the Juno up to the 106, I guess, or was there an HS60 which had speakers in as well?
Yes, I like that.
They were great for pads, because I mean, quite often, I mean, you're not using them for lots of sound effects or what have you. You're kind of mostly using them for polyphonic work. Right. Mark, you sounded like you had something to say there.
I like the HS60 because it had speakers in it, but I like good keyboards with speakers in, so I suppose that's just one of my idiosyncrasies, I suppose. But having said that, I found the Juno 106 way after it came out by way of the JX8P, which I'd owned for ages, and someone kept saying, listen, you've got to know you should be using a Juno 106 for a bass line. All the dub bass lines in the late 80s were done with Juno 106.
And of course, William Orbit, the sound of Bassomatic was a Juno 106.
But yeah, and I was working out of Beethoven Street Studios, which was William orbited up to the eyeballs, I think, from what I remember. I think he had something to do with it, or the studio across the road. Can't remember what or which. But I never bought a Juno 106 because I personally preferred the sound of the JX8P for pads, and the JX8P I think sounds better than the MKS 70, which had a slightly different flavour of sound. It didn't sound as warm, and when I sold the JX8P, I bought a JX3P and really loved that, actually. Provided you have the PG programmer with either of those, I think they're better.
I've lost a voice on my 106, but I used to use it for lead lines as well. There's something you could tune the filter with the res and the cutoff, and it had a very specific and quite almost vocal sort of sound. It was quite different. The articulation was quite different.
Like a nose flute kind of sound.
Well, something. Yeah, I used to use it quite a lot. Yeah,
because the JX8P does that as well, where you get like that overtone kind of. It sounds almost like overtone. Like that kind of overtone. What do they call it?
I don't know.
That kind of weird singing where they sing, or maybe it's called overtone singing. It probably is actually. Or nose flutes have that kind of secondary harmonic to their sound, and then it kind of tracks the tone of the sound.
Yeah, there's a wonderful set. Anyway, at the moment, there's only a single entry, which is Robbie Ryan, so he's looking like he's going to win the Juno stage. But you could got to get in there and do it. There's everybody's doing these kind of these competitions. It sounds like quite a good idea.
One person's entered the competition.
Yeah, so far. So they need to get.
Oh, there's a bloody call to bloody action.
Yeah, come on, guys. Maybe there's not that many Juno owners out there. Maybe that's the thing. But I'm sure there must be more. So this is a call. Let's go on, do it. Let's see if we can get a posse of people doing it.
Do you have to use a Juno 106?
No, you just have any kind of Juno.
Any kind of Juno?
Yeah.
Oh, I had an Alpha Juno 1 and an Alpha Juno 2, actually. Those were
I suppose,
really
they
good.
would work. They would work.
I mean, I don't have them anymore, but I also had a rack-mounted Alpha Juno.
Ooh, what was
and
that?
that was, and I can't remember what it was, an MKS 30 it might have been. No, that's a piano, isn't it? MKS 50?
Yeah,
it was basically an Alpha Juno in a rack, and the Alpha Juno was basically a Juno with an alpha wheel, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I remember rightly.
Oh, blimey.
And the Hoover sample.
The Hoover, oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, fun days, but yeah, get to it. I mean, there's the chances are good that you're going to win something, you guys. Basically, all you have to do is go to rolandus.com, and there's a great big graphic on the front page, and you just click there, and it'll take you to it. You've got to join the How Do You Juno user group, and then you just upload one, and that's it. It's pretty straightforward.
So, could you help us out then, since you're the only one with a Juno?
Yeah, one of the voices has gone.
Well, perhaps you could make some loops.
Make some Juno loops. If I get time, I'll try.
Loops and put them on Sonic State. We can download them and make tracks out of them.
5-voice Juno loops.
Yeah, well, we could.
That's the only problem, because you play the next note and it's sometimes not there with mine. I've got to get it fixed.